Blessed be everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be asking the question, is witchcraft for you? And how do you know if witchcraft is for you? What is all this witchcraft stuff anyway? That's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I'm Sandra from MysteryWitchSchool.com, author of Crafting Your Wiccan Path. And if you want to learn more about witchcraft, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. And if you want to know where to start your witchcraft practice, then I do have a free video that shows you how to start your witchcraft practice. Just gives you a bit of a roadmap to let you know where do I start and what do I need to know along the way and how can I pace myself learning all of it. The link is in the description field below this video. How do you know that witchcraft is for you? Well, the more you know about witchcraft, the more, of course, you'll know whether it is for you. But there's lots of different types of witchcraft too. So it's sort of knowing, well, this type of witchcraft says this thing and this type of witchcraft says that thing. And then there's Wicca and there's various different types of Wicca and what on earth is all this about? And where do I fit into the picture? So I'm just going to give you some basics that is really about the witchcraft path, more from, I guess, my experience and my perspective. My path has been definitely a Western path. It has been largely an eclectic Wiccan path as well. So I'm coming from that perspective. And all I can say is that witchcraft is a path that is quite demanding of you because it will require you to have certain qualities in order to be able to walk the path in a way that is productive, that's safe, and that will actually bring you the happiness and the joy and the connection that you're actually looking for. So the first thing to think of is, what's actually drawing me to witchcraft in the first place? That will let you know whether this path really is for you or whether this is just a temporary thing. So why are you coming to the path? What's drawing you to it? Is it a soul thing? Is it a connection thing? Or are you just drawn to it because maybe you've got some stuff going on in your life and you're looking at magic as maybe being a remedy for that? There's nothing wrong with that. It just means that it might only be a temporary thing for you. Or it might be something that you dabble in, but it's not necessarily a path that you're going to walk, you know, as your sort of path. So really think about that, or feel into that actually. Don't think so much about it, feel into it more. Feel into what is drawing me to witchcraft. What is the draw card? What do I want from this? Okay, what's in it for me? Taking it from a very ego perspective, but that's why we come to anything, is because we might see something in it for us. So we have to start there. It's a starting place, okay? So some of the things that the path requires is, number one, thinking beyond the material. So do you think beyond the material world? Do you think that there's more to this world than just what the materialist science tells you? Do you feel there's more to this world, more to life, more to energy than the rationalists tell you? Do you feel that there's more to life and that than just meets the eye? You know, maybe you've had experiences where you see things or experience things that other people don't. Maybe you feel that sense of connection to nature, that sense of connection to something other than the material world, because witchcraft will require you to think beyond the material, because we work beyond the material, and also to have that connection. So you maybe feel the connection to nature, to the birds, to the animals, to the plants, to the sky, to the stars, to the earth herself, to the rocks, to the sun, to the wind, to the water. That connection, that feeling that these things resonate almost with a spirit. Do they have a spirit? And if you work with the spirit of these places and of these elements, what happens when you do that? You know, this is what witchcraft requires you to, the questions it requires you to ask, and the experiences that you'll be either drawn to having. And magic, of course. Magic is a huge part of witchcraft. Some people who practice Wicca may not necessarily practice magic, but when it comes to witchcraft, witchcraft is really all about magic. And magic is about being able to influence your life in some way, to have some sense of direction over your life and to be able to influence outcomes in your life. So witchcraft definitely does demand that you have an interest in magic and that you are willing to do magic. So you need to be daring to step out of your comfort zone and look at the various different ways that you can influence situations that maybe involve working with correspondences like herbs and gemstones and colors and candles and doing spell work. Or maybe if you're just starting out and you're a little bit scared, work with some law of attraction exercises. That's a form of magic too. And just learning all of the different ways that you can work with the universe to be able to direct your life in a way that is more positive, that's going to give you more joy and more happiness. Magic also requires you to be able to surrender as well. So there's an element of surrender to magic too, where you have to let go of it and let it go and do its thing. There's an element too of feeling into your path and what your path is and asking for guidance along your path as well from maybe spirits, or if you are interested in working with deities, working with deities. Not all witches work with deities. A lot of traditional witchcraft doesn't involve working with deities. They mostly work with spirits. But knowing that there is more out there, more help available to you from a world that maybe you can't normally see or touch. Having self-knowledge is something that's required as well, because the more you know yourself and the more inner work you do on yourself, the more aware you become, more self-aware you become, the easier it is to navigate your life. You become less prone to being pushed around by other people and situations, and so that gives you more influence over your life as well. So this is an element of magic that's more like an inner magic side. So as the witchcraft path will lead you to really needing to know thyself. Because if you don't know yourself, if you don't do that inner inquiry and figure out, what really makes me tick, who, is my perception of myself really who I truly am? Or is it just what I've learned I am? Going through the whole shadow work thing, that's something that's required for you to be able to walk the path in a way that will lead to more happiness and more joy and more self-confidence, essentially. Developing your will will require you to have some willpower to be able to sit and focus long enough on a spell to be able to do it, to be able to work on your visualization skills or other various ways that you can focus on what it is that you're wanting to create with your magic. You'll need to have a desire for knowledge and be almost hungry for knowledge to know, well, what is beyond this tangible world? And, what can I do with my life? Be hungry for knowledge. And not just knowledge from books either, knowledge from your own experience. Record your own experiences. Having self-discipline is really important. You do need to have a certain element of self-discipline, responsibility, and emotional maturity for this, because this is where the danger comes in. And this is with anything. It's not just witchcraft. You could be of any spiritual persuasion. You can be a Buddhist and still fall into these traps. If you don't have the emotional maturity and if you don't have the responsibility, then you risk distorting these things into something that can become quite ugly and quite negative, where you're constantly in a state of having to do curses. You're constantly in a state where you're having to protect yourself because you've created this world where you're constantly under attack, or you feel that you are. And so you can become very paranoid. And that is not a life of joy and happiness. If you're constantly seeing enemies everywhere and you're constantly feeling like you've got to protect yourself from everything and everyone, that actually can actually attracts more of the negative stuff to you. And that's not what you want. You want to be building your path so that you're actually attracting more of the positive stuff to you. And that includes spirits. If you're constantly focused on harming all the time because you feel, you have to react, and you're constantly being defensive, then you're going to attract more of that kind of energy to you, which means those sorts of spirits to you. So this is where the maturity comes in, the responsibility comes in, and the know thyself comes in. So make sure that you are able to handle this stuff, because this is sort of an element of power that you're dealing with, and it's very easy for the ego to get drawn in and start to create a sense sometimes of superiority, and sometimes being totally defensive, and often seeing things or perceiving things that aren't necessarily true too. A lot of people, when they come to the craft, start to develop magical thinking, which is that anything that happens to them, any ache or pain, or they might see a crow, they think that it's some sort of sign of something, when really it's just an ache or a pain. Or maybe they have a few days where they're not sleeping, so they think someone's cursed them. That can happen, particularly when you're first on the path. So this is where the knowledge comes in and the know thyself comes in. So you need to have that emotional maturity for your own sake and for the sake of others, and also to be held a sense of responsibility. And it's all about self-respect, respecting yourself, accepting yourself, and knowing that the more empowered you are, the more connected you are, the more inner power you have, that actually makes you more powerful than any outer power that you can wield, really, essentially. That's where the power is. It's inner power. It's not external. So if you are being called to the path and you feel a connection, you enjoy working with magic, or you're interested in working with magic and herbs, you feel that you are mature enough to be able to handle the responsibility of all of this, you love maybe the rituals or the way of connecting with nature, you want to explore more of your own inner power and who and what you truly are, and develop your will and more skills, and you're hungry for knowledge about the world, and maybe you do want to work with deities, or maybe some spirits or elementals, or work with animal guardians or plant guardians, then witchcraft may definitely be for you. So that's just my experience of witchcraft, and also the experience of other people too that I know. I know a lot of people are attracted to the path because they do see it as a way of being able to bring that joy and peace into their life, as well as feeling connected. It's really about the connection. So if you are interested in learning witchcraft with me, after you've considered all of this, I have the Mystery Witch School 101 course. It's a 12-month course. It is self-paced, but you do get me as your mentor along the way. And it will help you have that more self-confidence with the path. It will help you connect with the path and walk the path in a way that is productive, that is positive, and that brings you the joy and the happiness, and takes you away from all of the confusion about where to start, what to do, what's this and what's that, and how do I put this all together to actually help me walk a path of joy and happiness. If you're interested in that, it's called the Mystery Witch School 101. The link is in the description field below this video. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from MysteryWitchSchool.com. Blessed be.